Welcome back, folks. It's another great day here on Valiant Renegade. Make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. Share this sucker out on the social medias. And do leave a comment before you head out today. Because this is where Hollywood comes to get put through the business and financial lens of reality. It's time. Renegade Online. Ooh, made that in the nick of time. I had to reset my camera right as I cut in. Oh, that worked. Good to see everybody out there once again. Welcome back, Renegade Nation. We are here live at 5 on the main channel on Valiant Renegade, where we put Hollywood and the entertainment industry through the business and financial lens of reality. We've been doing a hell of a job of it, I think, for about the last 4.5 years. So we have some stories today to get through. I don't think we're going to have a terribly long show, maybe about 2 hours. Then we're going to get on over to Renegade Nation because we've got some things to discuss. And we're going to have, or should have, a special guest joining us over there as well tonight. And that is going to be Mark Mitchell from Rasmussen Reports. Talk about some of the polling data with everything going on in the world today. And I see people mention looked a little bit blurry. I do have, my Wi-Fi connection is absolutely solid. I've built a new mesh in this house. So Wi-Fi in here now is excellent. The problem is StreamYard. I do see that I am not quite the best on StreamYard. You guys have commercials. Great. Fabulous. Let me go in and check that. You should have a commercial when you first click the button to watch the show, and then there shouldn't be any commercials after that. But yeah, I apologize. I keep forgetting that YouTube has... has screwed this up for us. So now we've got to go in and manually fix this. Let me check here. I thought it was off. Nope, it switched it back to on. Isn't that awesome? Okay, they're gone. Bye-bye. Okay, no more ads. That's it. Sorry about that, guys. I really hate that YouTube has changed that, and especially on Wednesdays when I kind of run home, get here, get things set up, and that's not something that I've had to do for 4 years, is to turn that kind of crap off. Again, I appreciate what YouTube is trying to do, but it's extremely disruptive in a live show when we don't know when these random ads that YouTube wants to throw in during a live show now. We have no idea that it's going on. We just keep doing a show, and people in the chat like, an ad showed up again. It doesn't tell us. It's the stupidest system on earth, and I apologize for it. But I know we've got some folks joining us over here from X, so welcome aboard. People asking about if Mark popped up on... Mark has been on a few channels lately. I think he was over on my buddy George the Giant Slayer yesterday. Because I had reached out to Mark, and that's why it's like at first I was like, how come my man Mark always answers when I call him or text him? And he didn't. He's like, oh, I was over on George's show. So he's going to try to be here tonight on Renegade Nation. So we're going to cascade this show over to Renegade Nation. Probably not go too long on Renegade Nation. And then we're going to throw the audience over to Mark on the Rasmussen Reports channel. So stay tuned for that. Matter of fact, I'm going to make sure that I have my cascade set up here. I don't see it. Probably doesn't show up in my search yet. Let me get this done. That's really bizarre. Why is it not showing up? It's on there, but it doesn't want to show up. I don't know why. There it is. All right, I had to search the name of the entire channel for it to show up. Okay, there we go. All right, we're all good to go now. All right, let's get into this. We've got a few topics that I kind of want to go through. I am hoping that our good buddy Alan Ng will be able to hop in here. I talked to him earlier today. He did a review recently on ELIO, which is the new Disney Pixar movie that is coming out this weekend. He did not have a lot of kind words to say about it. And reading what he had written in there, it sounded an awful lot like Wish all over again, especially with the cinematography. Very bland, very boring, very rudimentary, just really, really, really not good. And that, again, that doesn't surprise me considering what we know about this movie and the fact that Disney completely screwed this one up. Again, I know, big surprise. And effectively made this entire movie twice. And there were some reports recently. I think one of the major trades, maybe Variety, maybe THR, had rattled off a figure of about, was it $150 million budget for this film? Absolutely 1,000% not correct. We had a much better figure from World of Real not long ago, and I'll bring that back up here in just a second. In fact, I forgot to port that over from my laptop before I did that. Let's go ahead and look at that one real quick. I'm sure I can search it very quickly here. Yeah, let's remind everybody of this. And ELIO, and you know, for what we're going to talk about here in terms of the upcoming box office and the projections for this, not that good. Now, what is going to be out there right now is this, and again, this is obviously and clearly juxtaposed to Alan Ng at Film Threat's own assessment on this film. But I trust Alan because every time I've read one of Alan's reviews and then I've seen a movie for myself, I tend to, far more often than not, agree with Alan's take on things. And this is why I listen to people like Alan. I listen to people like Critical Drinker or Nerdrotic or guys like this that go see all of these films. The reason is because very consistently over a lengthy period of time, years here, that I have found that my opinion and their opinion tends to coalesce far more often than not. There is a huge correlation. There's rare instances maybe where I found I enjoyed something more than they did or vice versa. But more often than not, I'm pretty much right on. But you can look right here, right now, ELIO has this critics score of 85%, which is surprisingly good. And something that I didn't expect even from critics because we've seen them get a little bit more realistic lately. Some of the movies that ELIO is going to get compared to in terms of performance, however, and I do mean commercial success, box office performance, is going to be things like Wish, right here, which was an absolute disaster for the Walt Disney Company. That came in at 48% critics. And then we had things like Strange World, which curiously, I cannot explain. This movie did come out in theaters, although very poorly. Does not have a Rotten Tomatoes score. I don't even remember why that is or what happened here. Maybe somebody can remind me. I'm not sure. But when we look at these movies, I want to pull this up. We got Strange World, we got Lightyear, Elemental, and Wish, right? And we're gonna have to look at what this box office is gonna look like. But this is the article from Film Threat. I want everybody to go over there and check it out. If Alan does manage to jump in here, he can share a lot of his thoughts with you off the cuff. But if he can't make it, we'll go ahead and kind of kick through the article here. But you can see, you know, what the comments basically are here is that this is not a good film. It's very, very bad. But we will go through this here shortly. But let's talk about the box office and what we're looking for right now. Let me go back over here to this movie comparison table that I brought up moments ago. This is from the numbers. Again, I built this with Strange World, Lightyear, Elemental, and Wish. And what we have here is nothing particularly good. All of these movies came in with a reported, call it a $200 million budget, quote unquote. Again, this is more often than not what the movie actually cost at the end of the day, especially with Disney, or almost exclusively with Disney on almost every film they do. Domestic opening weekends. The biggest one was Lightyear at $50 million. Strange World pulled in 12. Elemental pulled in 29, and Wish pulled in 19. Four of the worst performing movies for Disney, and they've all been within the last 3 years. No surprise there. You can put that in there with Marvel and everything else for the most part that Disney has done since then. Most of them have lost Disney quite a bit of money, especially when you add them up. Remember the Walt Disney Company, before Lilo and Stitch, in calendar year 2025, between Snow White, Captain Falcon DEI, and Thunderbolts, Disney is about $600 million in the hole. Lilo and Stitch is certainly going to help dig their way back up and have that loss be somewhat mitigated. But then what it looks like right now, ELIO is going to come right behind it and eradicate any mitigation that Lilo and Stitch afforded Disney's theatrical exhibition, their content and licensing department of Disney. It's going to get wiped right back out by ELIO. And this is the problem here. Even with worldwide box office, Strange World, 74 million around the entire planet of Earth. Okay, 218 million for Lightyear, a disaster. Elemental, 484 million. Not bad, but not great. And Elemental had some reworking to it. Disney needed to get to about $600 million on Elemental just to break even between the, even if you consider $200 million the final spend on Elemental, which I don't think it was. I'd have to go back and refresh my memory on that one. You add another $100 million in marketing, $300 million all in. The movie needed to get to about $600 million to make it. Wish, another disaster, losing a couple of $100 million for Disney on that one as well, with only a $237 million global open for that. So, what are the prognosticators of prognosticating right now about this weekend? Well, let's go over to Deadline Magazine and check it out, because we've got two coming this weekend. And, of course, we'll cover all of this on the main Sunday show, live at 5 Central right here on Valiant Renegade. We'll have all the weekend box office numbers in, at least insofar as the estimates are concerned by that point. We got two biggies opening. We got 28 Years Later, which I'm actually really excited to see. It's been forever since I've watched the first one. I need to watch it. I might actually try to watch it, probably not tonight, but I may watch it tomorrow. I should probably be starting to watch the LSU baseball game right now. They're in the College World Series, but I love you guys so much. I'm here. I do have a little Gamecast window on up there on one of the monitors, so as soon as they start in about an hour, if you hear me start cheering or screaming or cursing, I'm watching LSU versus Arkansas. 28 Years Later is walking to $56 million worldwide opening, which is, look, that's a good, solid start for a horror movie, no matter how you shake it. Now, I got to go back and look to see, because I didn't get a chance to before the show, what the actual cost of producing 28 Years Later is. But remember, I believe this is a Sony film, which means that Netflix is writing a check to have the bulk of, if not almost the entire production budget for Sony covered to make this movie. So again, a little bit different scenario here. ELIO is orbiting $50 million worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, according to the experts at Deadline Magazine, both Anthony D'Alessandro and Nancy Tartaglione, they right now are telling us that a sequel to a 20-year-old zombie movie, because we haven't had 8 million of those, a 20-something-year-old zombie movie is going to outgross with $56 million around the entire planet of Earth a $300 million Disney Pixar major blockbuster budget, major summer animated family film. Damn. That's harsh. But it's probably true. This is going to be an absolute epic disaster for Disney. Yet another one in a long line of disaster. Let's go through this. Sony and Danny Boyle's post-apocalyptic infected dead people revival 28 Years Later opens on Friday, along with Disney Pixar's original sci-fi ELIO, which are looking at a global start of $56 and $50 million respectively. Global. Together with Universal DreamWorks Animation's How to Train Your Dragon, which is expected to hold the #1 position with a $40 million second weekend. Again, a major $300 million Disney Pixar original film is going to not only lose to the zombie movie, but it's going to lose to How to Train Your Dragon, who they're only expecting to pull in $40 million in its second weekend. This is humiliating. It's going to be, ELIO is going to open, it might, third place is what we're talking about here for a major Disney animated Pixar family film. I can't say it enough. This is just, it goes to show you what happens when you, as a company, self-destruct as much as you do, and the bad products that you keep putting out. It doesn't matter even when you put out good products anymore, unless there's something special like Inside Out 2 that had a built-in big following, and they delivered on it. That was the rare win in 5 years for Pixar, 6 years for Pixar. And then, again, Deadpool and Wolverine, which for obvious reasons, people went to go see that for Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman and the characters they were playing. Didn't give a damn about Marvel. Just wanted to see those two. But this is where we're at. 3 movies look around to make $90 million domestically. Broken out, they believe, $28 to $30 million for 28 years later. So about $10 million behind How to Train Your Dragon's second weekend. And $20 million for ELIO. So right now they're saying $20 million domestically for ELIO and $30 million international. Yeeks. Okay, that's really, really bad. And they go into talk about this is a different era from Inside Out 2, clearly. 28 years later was a major win for Sony in its auction, is an elevated horror film. Arguably older skewing than Final Destination Bloodlines, which pulled in 67% 18 to 34-year-olds. Fans have emailed us urging us to report that the Boyle-directed third installment of 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later has a shot at a $50 million opening, but the pre-sales show no such indication. Now, they're talking about a domestic $50 million opening weekend. Look, horror movies are kind of funny. It's a lot of walk-up traffic. I don't know how, like, I haven't pre-bought 28 years later tickets yet, and I still may go see it this weekend. I'm going to try to. So, I don't know. Look, if you're estimating 30 million right now, moving from 30 to 50 million is a huge leap. Granted. But all I'm saying is they may not have completely anticipated the power of the walk-up traffic on this one. I don't know. I'm not saying there is a huge one. I'm saying I don't know. We don't know. But we'll see. Pre-sales show no indication of the $50 million opening, but advanced ticket sales are just above Longlegs, $22.4 million, and Civil War, $25.5 million. I don't think they mean Captain America Civil War. And 2023's Evil Dead Rise, $24.5. A $30 million start would be a major win for this $60 million net cost feature production about a father and a boy. There you go. So $60 million net cost is what they're referring to here. Again, now I don't have a detail on what the gross costs are. Let's check the numbers or see if there's any update on that one. Because again, it seems like with net cost, what Deadline is kind of figuring in here. They're figuring in maybe what Sony got in terms of Netflix money or things of that nature. Let's see. May 20th, 2020. Well, clearly it's not May 20th. 28 years later, maybe they changed the date. Do we have any? No, I don't think they processed any information on that. We may get it. Well, it says 60 million right there. There we go. Production budget 60. So there you have it. We'll see what happens with this, but ELIO is looking like it is going to be a giant problem. And look, here's the funny part with this. And we have a guest joining us. I'm going to let him tell you all about it. But let me bring this up real quick. Here's the thing with ELIO. ELIO, it looks like it's going to have the same problem as IronHeart, which I know Alan Ng is absolutely looking forward to watching IronHeart as well. And just like we all are. This is going to be a pretty bad month, I think, for Disney theatrically with ELIO's release, and then on Disney Plus with IronHeart's release, which looks like this. IronHeart could very easily be the acolyte of the MCU, where it may get a higher amount of viewership than we anticipate, just based on the fact that people seem to want to clown on this sucker. And I said to somebody this morning, between ELIO and IronHeart, these are just two turds on a Wednesday morning after Taco Tuesday. The crap is going to come out no matter what. I mean, that's what you have with these. Disney had to get these moving. ELIO was delayed for 15 months. IronHeart was also delayed for at least a year, if not maybe closer to 2 years. Disney is having to force these things out now. It's a sunk cost fallacy. Here to tell us all about why he thinks this movie is the worst thing that Disney Pixar has ever made, ladies and gentlemen, our good friend from Film Threat, Mr. Alan King. How are you?
Brian. Good. I don't think.
Oops.
Oh, where did I go? Oh no.
I have to fix. Why? You know what? Okay. I moved my buttons in StreamYard. I made custom ones. So I'm so used to moving my mouse to this thing, and I forgot it shifted all over 2 slots.
Well, they made a bunch of changes too.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
I'm still getting used to the new StreamYard. Well, I think Disney is like allergic to profit, and so it's like when Lilo and Stitch makes too much money, they have to dump it somehow, and so we have ELIO.
Well, that's what we were saying before you hopped in backstage. I made the remark that, between Snow White, between Captain America, and between Thunderbolts, we've estimated somewhere around $600 million in the hole this year so far for Disney. Yeah. Before they got to Lilo and Stitch, they lost around $200 million on Captain Falcon. They lost around $300 million on Snow White because they went way over the top on that sucker. We will still have financial reports coming in for that, probably for the next year and a half, and it's only going to get way worse. And then we've got Thunderbolts, which didn't even get to $400 million. So the loss is racked up. Lilo and Stitch will, after covering its costs on that movie, which clearly it did, let's say, and I don't have the numbers exactly in front of me, but let's say it manages to haul in an extra $150 million to $200 million in profit, which is probably somewhere in that vicinity. Against the $600 million they already start in the hole, ELIO is going to take that $150 million plus that Lilo just threw in the pot and wipe it right back out again and even add to it, I think. Yeah. So what's going on with this film? Why was this so bad?
Wait, is it true? Is this one a $300 million
this
movie?
Was, yes. So this was, and it's funny because there was a post earlier that I was from one of those Twitter bot accounts, but I went back to this to remind everybody. This is from World of Real, Alan. ELIO's overhauled, rewrites, director swap, $300 million budget. The studio was hit hard by COVID with films like Soul, Luca, Turning Red, ... Okay, here's the thing. I believe, this is according to World of Real, I believe Disney is just happy to get this one off its back, as it has been a major crux for Pixar boss Pete Docter. It was originally slated to release in March of 24.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was moved, and then that's where they slotted Snow White. And then Snow White got kicked to March of 25. So it was a wreck. ELIO was initially directed by Adrian Molina, but in 24, he was replaced due to a, quote, scheduling conflict, which absolutely nobody believes. He still holds a co-directing credit. The film is being led by Domi Shi and Madeline Shaharafian from Turning Red. And the story centers on this, that, and here's the thing. New directors, new writers, they added new characters. They reshot major portions of this. And the cinematography, Alan, it looks like part 2 of Wish, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is, these are clearly Wish and ELIO came from the same mind in terms of directing, in terms of the way it looks. Like we just spent, if you want to get really into the weeds, we talked about it on the Film Threat livecast, Hollywood on the Rocks, just
go ahead.
an hour or so ago. But this is on par with Wish. I mean, look at that image right there.
Yeah.
First of all, ELIO is in the dead center of the screen. All right, and if you understand the rule of thirds, if you saw the Fablemans, if you've ever taken a composition or art class, you understand the rule of thirds. If you were to take that image right there and look at what's on the third left and the third right, on the third right, there's nothing. And on the third left, there's that little creature there, which basically says if you were to ask John Ford, this image is boring.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first thing I noticed when ELIO started, was that everything, all the action is dead center in the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And so the reason why this is important, what people may not understand, is that for you to engage in art, your eye has to move around the image. If your image is in the center, your eye doesn't move, and so your eye doesn't want to go to the left, doesn't want to go to the right. And so what composition does is it forces your eye to move around the screen to look at things, and if anything, to keep you engaged. That's why you have the rule of thirds there. And when your entire, I'd say 80% of the movie is like this, where you are just dead set, your eyes focus on the center of the screen. It's like driving down a long highway late at night, and you're trying to stay awake, and all you can do is focus down the center of the lane here, and I guarantee you're going to fall asleep and get into an accident.
I think the accident was releasing this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, they say here, behind the scenes, ELIO has experienced major upheaval throughout its lengthy development to the point where the budget tipped toward the $300 million mark. A significant portion of the creative team was replaced midway through production, which, if you've seen both the 23 and 2025 ELIO trailers, it explains the dramatic shift in tone and style. Most of the character designs have remained intact. The latest trailer released last month revealed some heroes and villains swapped roles entirely. So, I mean, you think about not only rewrites, but you're reanimating. You have to have all the voice actors come back and re-record a bunch of new stuff all over again. Yeah. They made this movie twice. So it's totally believable to me, because you've got, I think, Variety or somebody out there saying the production budget was $150 million. Well, that may have been when they greenlit it, but then they spent $150 million all over again because they did it twice.
Yeah. I mean, what's interesting is this is not new for Pixar. No. I think what's new is the fact that they spent the money they did to fix it. For example, I remember D23. They brought out the crew for Good Dinosaur, and it was Frances McDormand, it was Bill Hader, it was Neil Patrick Harris, Lucas Neff from one of the, I forgot the show, and then when the movie came out, entirely different cast and crew, and nothing like that. Bill Hader wasn't even in the movie. So and look, famously, Aladdin with Robin Williams, very different story when it first started. There was Aladdin and his friends. There was a mom character. They had Alan Menken and Howard Ashman. You can go to the archives and listen to the songs they wrote for that movie.
Yeah.
So it's not unheard of to change course at Disney. Emperor's New Groove is another great example of that.
I think you're right.
But
it's not
that
uncommon.
They're throwing money at it is the problem.
Well, the throwing money at it, but here's the thing: like especially with things like Aladdin back in the day in the '90s with Ashman and Menken, those movies came out and they made a fortune. People loved them, and they made a ton of money for Disney for a long time.
Yeah,
and they still are. This one, however, and I don't know exactly when you made it in backstage, but in case you don't know, right now, 28 years later is going to smoke ELIO this weekend.
Yeah,
according to Deadline. So this is how bad it is. Yeah. So they're saying 30 million domestic for 28 years later, and 20 million domestic for ELIO. So it's going to be bad. And we had this chart up, and then if you want to talk about some of the specifics and the story in there related to your review that you did, because we had oops, not that one. I wanted to pull up. Sorry. Yeah, this is the one that we had, movie comparison. I was showing people here, trying to figure out where we're going to land. If we're going to have a $50 million global opening for ELIO, this very well could wind up somewhere between Strange World and Lightyear, but closer to Strange World. I mean,
Yeah.
that's bad. And Strange World didn't come out in the heat of summer. This thing came out,
It's
Strange World
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Yeah, it was a Thanksgiving release, which is a good holiday to release on for a family film. It's a great one. That's why Disney always does it. But this is coming out, dead center of summer, and it's going to get buried. I mean,
Yep.
absolutely buried. This thing might not even make it to 100 million, and if it does, it might not make it to 125.
Yeah.
This is a train wreck.
I mean, it sounds like they're hoping they'll get an Elemental out of this. The problem with that is Elemental was a moderately good movie.
Yeah.
This one is not.
Okay, so that's what I was going to ask you, because again, that's a great point. Look at Elemental's opening, 29 million. Look at
Yep.
Wish's
Very
opening,
like
19. They're projecting Wish right now in terms of an opening. Okay,
Right. And deservedly so.
right. So, okay, let's say that we get an Elemental thing where this thing starts out at 29, which
Mhm.
is terrifying for a $200 to $300 million film.
Right.
I mean, you're losing money at that point. But it admirably, it manages to leg out to roughly a 5x domestically, which is unheard of for really any Disney film in the modern era that I can recall. So talk about why you think this is so bad. We had your article up here
Yeah.
from Film Threat. We're going to encourage everybody to go over to the Film Threat website. If this cooperates with me, it's
Yeah.
not right now.
Let
And
me
read this.
take the Elemental just for a second.
Go ahead.
The thing about Elemental is it was a movie they didn't really understand the audience, but the audience showed up, and that audience was teen girls to young adult girls.
Mhm.
It was a legit romantic movie.
Mhm.
It told a very good love story, and for people who like love stories, and it found its audience, and that audience carried it. Elio should, for all intent and purpose, be for families with children, especially boys who like space. And I don't think this movie is going to even appeal to them. This is definitely, trademark Pixar is that they make children's movies that everyone can enjoy.
Right.
Adults will not enjoy Elio whatsoever. I could talk to you about how bad the story is. It's not unsafe,
Mhm.
meaning, they're not themes that you're going to shield children away from.
Gotcha.
But it's a bad movie. It's a boring movie. Let me see. So I mentioned this on our Film Thread, but I went to I don't know if you remember the Disney Institute. It was kind of an adult fantasy camp for Disney that you could go spend a week at what is now the French Quarter, and
Okay.
you take classes. It's basically Disney adult fantasy camp. And so I saved my money. I went to it. I really wanted to do it. I got to experience it.
Like when you
I
say
had a great time.
fantasy, that gets a wide-reaching.
Okay, so let me tell you what I did while I was at the Disney Institute. While I was at the Disney Institute, I got to animate a short film.
Okay.
I got to learn photography. I'll talk to you a bit later about that. I learned gardening from the gardeners of Epcot. So we went to
That's
World
cool.
Showcase before it
Yeah.
opened, and we went on a gardening tour of Epcot. Did a canoe trip through the canals behind Disney World, and I'll mention the photography trips. We were given at that time $2,000 camera bag.
Mhm.
And some rolls of film. That we had a professional Disney photographer, the guy who did Michael Eisner's portraits for the board for the annual reports.
Gotcha.
He comes in and he says, "Okay, I'm going to teach you how to do portrait photography," and then he also taught us how to do nature photography. And we went to Discovery Island, if you remember that, to
Mhm.
do nature photography. But the first thing he taught us was composition, and in that composition is the rule of thirds, meaning you don't take a picture and put the person smack dab in the middle of the picture.
Right.
You move them to the right or to the left by a third. And again, I mentioned it before, it causes your eye to move around. It makes the thing more interesting. So let me share this on screen, and I'll show you the biggest problem with with
So
ELIO here. Let me
you talk about some of those trips. I used to love to do that at Disney. I actually still have one of the big pieces of glass right here that goes on one of my rigs.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, one of my
Okay,
Canon L lenses.
Okay,
yeah,
so what I've done here. Oh yeah, share what I've got.
Gotcha. Go ahead.
There. Okay,
Go ahead.
So what I've done here is I've taken the trailer of ELIO,
Mm-hmm.
and if you look at it, here's a green bar to represent the middle third of the screen.
I like where you're going with this. Yeah.
All right, so let's play it. There's no sound, so we should.
Yeah, that's okay.
But okay, we got the other thing is okay, look at that. Okay,
Yeah.
so let me just pause that.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the planet here, right directly in the middle of the screen. Look at the left and the right. What do you see? You see nothing.
Right.
It's a very boring image. You see the main subject. All right, so
sometimes I don't mind, like if it's a landscape and you're flying into it, I get it, but it's with people, it's with characters where this breaking this rule drives me nuts.
Well, let's also put it this way: when it's 80% of your movie, that's when you have a problem. See, if you look here, they're looking at ELIO on an iPhone, and you look to the left and the right. What are you looking at? You know, it's very noisy. In context, even it's hard to understand what you're looking at. Okay, so look, they got it right here. Okay, there you go. What do you see on the left and the right?
Nothing again.
Yeah, there's really nothing there. Okay, they followed it there. Here we go.
Yeah,
action right in the dead center. I mean, okay, so we got a little bit of design here, but
yeah,
design's not that interesting. Let's see. Just keep going here. Okay, so here we got some really interesting stuff, because an image that fills the whole screen. But again, you look at the left and the right. This is not something that you instinctively know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch the movie, you know what it is. But this is like it's a Jackson Pollock painting, basically. All right, so let's get that. Okay, look, now we have the same problem here. Okay, I guess we're on an alien world and stuff, but then you have these things here, these aliens. What is that? That's a question that you all ask, because we're not really introduced to these things. We just see them. I guess they're kind of cat worm creatures, but again, don't understand the utility of this. Why are they shaped this way? Why do they do that? What is their function other than being a cute alien? Something that exists, Okay, there you go. Okay, I guess we're getting a little bit, but yeah, we have our characters on the thirds. But again, what is in the background? What do you see?
Nothing. What I see here is, I mean, it looks, when you see these type of cinematic shots, and again, this is theoretically, when you're making a trailer, right? This is your first promise to the audience. This is what we're trying to deliver to you. And this trailer is filled, like you said, with a lot of really rudimentary, boring shots. Like there's nothing here that cinematically looks exciting from a photography standpoint. And we had the same issue, like when I watched some of Wish, or I tried to, I was this is boring. There's a lot of medium shots. There's not a lot of creativity in here. And part of me wondered again, did this come back? I mean, we know why it happened with Wish to one degree or another, because they rushed the production of that. It kind of looks like, because of all the rewrites, all the remakes, all the redos, new director, new writer, had to re-record a whole bunch of stuff. Obviously, I think, Alan, I don't know, what do you think? I mean, did they have to rush through this again? So this is why they had to cut back the time element somewhere, so we just got dry, bland, boring, static photography.
Here's what I've learned about Disney recently is that everything's rushed all the time. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. For some reason, I guess Inside Out 2 got some grace and got a little more time put into it. But you're right in the sense of if I have to rush getting this movie out, I can't spend a lot of time on shots like this. This is remember Phantom Menace. We're in the Senate. And you have all these boxes with aliens in them. I mean, that's in a way, this scene is supposed to replicate that, but you can barely see the alien. And also the aliens aren't that interesting in terms of what am I looking at here? I mean, you get the point here.
There's a frog. Here,
let me grab.
The audience hasn't reacted to this. I mean, that's the bottom line. People saw the trailer
and the movie's going to open with $20 million. This movie is probably going to lose Disney. Based on where it's going to open, ELIO is going to lose Disney at least $200 million, if not 250.
Yeah. Share this image real quick. These are the aliens. I mean, are you impressed at all? Are you...
Again, the animation looks there's very low resolution. There's low detail. This does not look like you said, this doesn't look like what you would expect from a 2025 technologically capable Pixar that's supposed to be leading the pack. I mean, when you think about the computer animation that we got 30 years ago with Toy Story and A Bug's Life and then even pushing into the 2000s when we got things like Ratatouille, which was beautiful, WALL-E, which I thought was beautiful. This is very, very, like, they have regressed. I mean, not only in the standpoint of, and those movies had beautiful photography with them in those films.
Yeah. Oh, there's the bigger crime in here is this takes place in space.
Yeah.
So you have galaxies, you have stars, and they even managed to make that look boring. It's like it used to be that when you thought, hey, I'm going to see a Pixar movie, and you knew you were going to get something special.
Yeah.
And that's what you are not getting from Pixar anymore. Look at these aliens. They got weird designs. Okay. But part of what makes aliens work is that you understand some kind of utility. Like, how does this creature move? Why does this creature shape this way? Why is this giant sponge a thing? What about this walking two-pedaled alien? What is this? What does that do? I'll give you a great comparison. Remember when you saw Mos Eisley for the first time?
Yes.
Yeah, you saw aliens and you understood how those aliens interacted with the world around them. And you just don't get that here.
No.
Like, I don't know what they do. I don't know. And quite frankly, the pink guy here you see in the movie, the little guy here is kind of the professory owl. And then this stone thing, he kind of his body parts separate in some kind of pleasing designed manner. But other than that, you really don't know anything. You don't understand why they're shaped like this, what the world they come from, why they walk, function, move the way they do.
It's bizarre.
And again, I'll Mos Eisley. Just when you walk into a room full of aliens, that's the kind of wonder you should get.
Well, look, bring up WALL-E, right? Because WALL-E was. We're gonna get some super chats, folks. I see y'all out there. We're gonna get there right now. But I want to say this real quick. When I looked at WALL-E, and I haven't watched it in a while, I need to go back because I really do want to get the 4K physical of it because I thought WALL-E was a beautiful movie. It was one of the best things they've ever done. Look, when you introduced every little robot that was on the ship that did, it's like you said, you could see immediately what they did, how they functioned within the world that they were in. They fit. They all seemed to fit. I mean, you had the hairdressing robot. You had the little sweeping up the floor robot. You had all these little, mow that would go around and clean stuff and all this. I mean, it fit. Like you said, this looks, and let me tell you, the animation back then, and that's when 4K wasn't even a thing yet. They were doing that thing in 1080. And the 4K disc is really just a 2K up convert. But I mean, it looked 1,000 times better than what I'm seeing here. Yeah. And this is animated natively in 4K. And I love, somebody made a comment out there. This looks like the leftover designs from Monsters, Inc.
Yeah, but even in Monsters, Inc., you understood the monsters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And you mentioned WALL-E. Yeah, WALL-E was an advancement in Pixar in terms of their art style. It was a definite upgrade when WALL-E came out compared to everything they had done at that point.
The shadows and everything that they had on the characters.
So the photorealism.
Oh, it was so beautiful. Rick Carrero with a $100 super chat just dropped 20 gifted channel memberships. Thank you so much, Rick Carrera. And I know Araxis was having trouble earlier, but I guess he got his phone figured out. Araxis dropped 5 gifted Valiant Renegade channel memberships. He got a new phone. He said, it's not letting me super chat. I'm like, get rid of the phone, get a new one. So no, it was fine. I guess he got it figured out. Marcus Squintus gifted 5 memberships. Araxis said for 5, don't mess with me, Marcus. Space Wolves beat Ultra Smurfs. There must have been something else in here for Marcus. For 5, hit that like, subscribe, and share it out to the masses. And also check out Valiant Renegade's new channel, Renegade Nation. Well, it's Renegade Nation, but it's at Renegade Nation News. But yes, thank you, Marcus. Appreciate you. Now with more salt. Yes, we cover all of like the hard news and the politics and the stuff going on in the world. We cover that over there to keep the algorithm on YouTube happy. John Maynard gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, John. And Packing Proton says for 2, this one's for Araxis, covered payback forward. And this was when Araxis couldn't get his super chat in. Araxis says, having phone issues, had to wait to get home to gift. Well, Araxis, man, all right, I didn't realize. So it wasn't on your phone. You got home and did it. Thank you, man. You didn't have to do that. We'll get the phone figured out. We love having you here no matter what. Marcus Squintus says for 5, what the hell, Disney? You make a movie about a little kid with one eye, which surely represented me growing up, and you make the movie suck? Frick you. Yeah.
Well, the eye thing is explained. It's
okay.
He got poked in the eye.
He got poked in the eye. Oh, so he's Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Doc Hollywood for $50. Pixar had 18 hit movies under John Lasseter's leadership. After he was forced out, they haven't had any to speak of. Pete Docter's a good storyteller, but he just doesn't have the leadership skills of Lasseter. I think that's a good point, maybe. I think Pete Docter's capable. I just don't think he's got the same kind of heart and soul that Lasseter did. And for those of you, because I don't think I've played this clip in a while. I don't even know if I still have this. I do still have it backstage. This is John Lasseter. This is what made him so great, and this is what made so many movies at Disney and Pixar what they were.
To make a great film, I believe you have to do 3 things really well. Tell a compelling story that is unpredictable, keeps the audience on the edge of their seat. You populate that story with really appealing and memorable characters, and put that story and those characters in a believable world. Believable for the story you're telling. Not realistic. We're not interested in reproducing reality. It's a believable world. So those 3 components are kind of the guiding structure of this exhibit.
So,
100%.
Yeah, he didn't talk about the message. He didn't talk about you have to, use a movie to try to teach a lesson or political social message to kids. And I'm not saying that's what ELIO is doing here. That is what Disney has been doing too heavy-handedly in the last several years, and they have forgotten. It's like that's been the only thing that Disney has done is try to go for that, and they have completely forgotten to follow the simple principles that made all of these Lasseter films that he had his hands on in some form or fashion what they were. It felt like they had heart. None of these movies that Disney's making has a lot of heart anymore.
Yeah, I mean, look at this picture here. Part of what he said is it's a world you can engage in that feels it doesn't need to be real, but it's something you can relate to, something you can interact with. And again, you don't get that from this image, and you definitely don't get it from the movie. In terms of, is it woke? It's not woke, but it's definitely got a message that we're telling kids today about being heard and being seen. And also, there's a lot of messages that the a lot of, like the kid Elio is kind of a dick in the first third, but I don't. But I think it's unintentional. I don't think it's one of those things where you create a character, you want him to be lovable, likable, and all that stuff, and then you make him do a dick move, and you don't realize that you just turned your antagonist or your protagonist into an antagonist. And it's storytelling in Hollywood across the board. Disney more so is a lost art, and that's the problem we have with every single movie, and why theaters are failing, because no one knows how to tell a good story anymore. Sinners is the exception.
Well, okay, I was gonna say we've had a few out there, and I still haven't had a chance to see it. I figure I'll probably catch it when it comes out on Max. But to Doc's point here, he says Pete's a good storyteller, but maybe he just doesn't have the leadership skills of a Lasseter. Do you think Pete Docter is capable, apart from maybe, maybe pumping out some halfway decent nostalgia bait, like an Inside Out 2, like maybe a Toy Story 5, God forbid, because Toy Story 4 was not that good. But, I mean, can Pete ever get to the point where he can pick this up and run with it, or does he just not have the chops to
Okay, so
what do you think the issue is?
Yeah, the issue is we cover this in the D files. Lasseter, when he made a decision, it was the final decision. And whether you agreed with it or not, it was the decision. Meaning, the problem was that when they fired Lasseter, well, I brought up this and he ignored it, or he's not. I brought up representation and he said, oh, but that doesn't meet the story. I think the problem Pete Docter has is, let's assume he has the creative genius of John Lasseter. What he doesn't have the ability to do is say no. I think you saw some of it with Inside Out 2, where he just put the mandate out and said, if it's even remotely gay, we're taking it out.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, and he got a lot of pushback for that. He got a lot of people saying, there was that TV series where there was I believe it was a trans episode.
The Little League.
The Little League.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Win or lose or something like that.
That.
It was like, no, we're taking it out, and he got criticized for that.
That was one of the problems. That was the whole point of creating that Reimagine Tomorrow program. Because think about this. I think you're completely on the money with this, because they did this to Bob Chapek when he was CEO.
Yeah.
They put him, they put that political social pistol that pressed up against his temple and had him record that I'm sorry video after the whole House Bill 1557 in Florida. We covered that thing for an entire year. But you're right. Lasseter was the king. No king. There were kings at Disney, and it was Lasseter. Okay. But for good, I saw this posted today. And I saved this because I kind of hoped that somebody would bring this point up. And this is it. Boardwalk Times, filmmakers who are developing original feature films at Pixar. And there's Dominique Shi, Turning Red, who just was responsible for the second iteration of ELIO, which is coming out this Friday. Right. Kristen Lester, Pearl, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Afton Corbin, 20-something, and Rosanna Sullivan, Kitbull. I don't know. This is right. This is part of, because DEI. Everybody thinks when we say DEI, you're just talking about black. It's not. It's anything that's not white and male. Or Alan
straight.
Technically is DEI. Yeah, right. Because he's got the Asian side in him. But this is when these are the women, and I promise you, they probably are all very, very politically single-minded, and it's not conservative. But they're probably your typical, like, really hardcore leftist types. These are the women that are making these original products at Pixar. So, yes, while Pete Docter's name is still at the top of the hill over there, it's like Alan said, and I think he's right. I don't know if Pete Docter really has this is the final word, because one of the things that has been the big complaint, and not just at Disney, but across a multitude of industries that have instituted DEI over the years and all of these diversity kind of protocols and this and that was that, well, if the boss was a white dude, he had to do things that non-white, non-men employees were telling him that they needed in representation. And so you get this kind of stuff, and instead of saying, well, no, but okay, all that's great and fine, but we need a compelling story. We need compelling characters. Yeah. We need to put it in a believable world. We need to entertain audiences. We need to give them something they want to see. And we have people that are writing these things that I don't think they're talented enough to be writing them, and they have no idea how to entertain audiences. Yeah. I think they know how to entertain themselves. They make a movie that they see themselves in or addresses a personal issue or grievance or something with themselves, and it's like they feel like their little small cabal of insular people are being served with this. At the end of the day, it's still a $200 to $300 million massive capital expenditure for a publicly traded company.
Yeah, do you remember that story of it was Cars 3 where someone took the script and counted the lines that the male characters had versus the female characters.
I don't know. I don't remember that one.
Oh yeah, it's a very famous video. But yeah, they found out that the male characters, I guess it's like 2/3 more. It was a 2-to-1 ratio of male character lines to female, and so
And
and I believe Lasseter, I believe they brought
male.
Lasseter, so they balanced it. They gave men and women the same thing, which tells you is that their idea of storytelling is equity, is that
Right.
a good story is one where men have as many lines as women do, or that white characters have as many lines as non-white characters. As opposed to a good story is a story that connects with people, touches them in the heart, and
Right.
you tell it however you need to tell it, whether it's a mostly female cast or mostly male cast.
That's it.
But your point is to the audience and not to what is on the screen or what group is behind you. I can guarantee, I would bet money that when Lasseter left, there were people of color who could have taken over the job of a lot of the managers. And I think the problem is that they didn't want to put people who were under the tutelage of Lasseter in. So they got people who were just black and had or diverse and had a big voice who could outscream everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the people they put in charge. And and again, it comes back to merit. There were people of color who probably put their time in, put the work in, tried to be as excellent as they possibly could, and they were looked over for the activists.
Yeah, I mean, we make entire decisions of what types of projects to make and how much to spend based on equity and social justice and all this, and it's not played well. And it's not just in Hollywood. I mean, we've covered countless stories in the video game industry where this has been an abject disaster. I mean, $400 to $800 million singular video game capital expenditures and investments and developments over time that absolutely failed at launch because they forgot that they had to actually make a good game that people wanted to play. And I mean, it's been disastrous across the board. But ELIO, for whatever reason, and you can blame whatever you want at this point, and I'm sure people will. The fact of the matter is, I think at the end of the day, is that Disney has given us like so many bad products over the last several years that people have. It's very easy for them at this point to say, you know what, I'll wait till it's on Disney Plus. I don't care.
Yeah.
Right. It's because they've been to enough. It's Disney's. Why go spend $100 bringing me and a few kids to the movie theater, and to go sit through this when it's going to be on Disney Plus in 3 months, and it's probably not that good.
Yeah.
People will show up if they really want to see something. The kids showed up because they wanted to go see and meme the hell out of Minecraft. People showed up for Inside Out too because it targeted the audience that it knew was there and did it well. Thank Pete Docter for that, I guess. Deadpool and Wolverine did the same thing. Disney hasn't had much of any success anywhere else outside of that in the last 5 years. And, I mean, between this and then you've got Fantastic Four, which I'm assuming probably in the next 3 weeks you'll probably get your hands on that one or be seeing that one.
Most likely we'll see it the Monday of its opening.
So they're embargoing it that hard, huh?
To be honest, that's on par for the last 10 movies from Disney.
I was going to say from Disney, right?
From Disney, yeah.
Okay, because usually you guys get to see stuff. Usually about a week before it comes out, I would think, or at least maybe two.
Usually,
like
but honestly, I think a lot of the studios are. I kind of like. I believe, a whole bunch of people just saw 28 Years Later yesterday.
Okay,
and that comes out this weekend.
Yep.
I think it's the only time they really bring it out early is if the studio really believes in it. How to Train Your Dragon. I saw it last month.
I was going to say, I felt like you just saw something that was like that's what it was. It was How to Train Your Dragon. Oh, let me ask you about that.
I mean, I've been sitting on that one for a month.
I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I didn't care that it was the same as the original. I told people last week when I went to go see it, and I'm curious to get your thought because I'd stayed away from it because I didn't want to, see any spoilers. But I figured it was the same thing. But I remember I sat there and I left the theater and I said I'd pay to watch that again just to see Gerard Butler and Nick Frost do those two characters live on screen because that was like I was so good with that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
I
my
know,
my feeling was I wasn't exactly the biggest fan of the original animated, and so I'm like,
I
okay,
admittedly
I'm
love the
gonna
original. I was
yeah.
jaded, you know. So
Yeah, I mean, I felt like, yeah, I saw another good version of a movie I wasn't overly thrilled with. My daughter, on the other hand, she loved the original. Doesn't
Yeah.
want to see this. Doesn't want to see it.
Really?
Will
Okay.
not see it. And the other thing was, I was going to take my family to see it last week during the early access, and then until I found out that it was going to cost me $25 a ticket, it was like, we're not watching it now.
Okay. Yeah, we'll wait. Let me.
Yeah.
What did you think of the performance by Zendaya? I mean, Nico Parker.
Nico, I'm fine. It's a kid. Just the fact that I have to research her to find out if she's black or not. I'm like, this is.
Well, no.
Sometimes this conversation just gets insane.
So no. Well, I knew who. Okay, so we talked about her months ago. We were like, okay, and knowing who Asher was, the jokes we were making was this is. Obviously, this film, the timing of the release of this film is directly correlated to the opening of Epic Universe. It's for good reason. I mean, this was a $150 million commercial for Epic Universe that the audience had to pay to go see. Yeah. It's one of those, and which I love. It's like a Transformers movie. Yeah. They suck.
And they're gonna make a boatload of money with Epic Universe.
Right. So it's like they suck, and they usually don't make a lot of money, at least the last 2 or 3 Transformers movies, if any, or they lose money. But Hasbro sells an extra $300 or $400 million of Transformers toys that year. That's what they're after. So this is one of those things. But when we all saw like the early previews of Epic, and they had a pitch perfect set of actresses playing Astrid with the blonde hair, the costume sounded just like her, the facial expressions, the acting was all spot on. And then they cast Nico Parker, who's Stanley Lewis's daughter. Which and her mom, I love her mom. Her mom's a great actress. I love her in the Riddick movie. The second one, The Chronicles of Riddick with Carl Urban, was a great team up. I mean, she's a fantastic actress. And her daughter doesn't look at all like Astrid. Yeah. And then the reason I brought up the Zendaya joke was because as I'm watching it, she kind of has that same, every expression looks the same, deadpan Zendaya style of delivery. She got a little bit. We got a little bit of a smile in a couple of scenes, and I'm like, okay. But I remember sitting there watching this. And the first thought was when I saw Nico Parker, she's like, she has all the range of Zendaya. This is great.
But the thing is, it's not about her skin color; it's about her talent.
They could have put a blonde wig on her, and it visually would have been a lot better. Because when you have Nico Parker right now in the movie, that doesn't look a thing like the Astrid, the original Astrid, and the one they put in the parks, it's kind of jarring. Yeah. It's like, why do that? It's like, why not just give her blonde hair?
Yeah, I mean, because my feeling is if it looks like they did to preach to us to say, that's one thing. Black Snake would be but the other thing is like when I saw the casting of Hermione for the TV series, I'm like, well, I mean, she looks white, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm about to research her cultural heritage just to make sure it got right.
Well,
and I'm like, I'm not
was looking up, wasn't Hermione? Everybody started looking up, and I can't remember the little girl's name anymore, the one that they hired to play Pavarti Patil. And they were complaining that, well, like, she looks Italian, and I'm like, Italian? She don't look at you. How many Italians have you met in your life that look this way? It's like her mother, her dad might be, because I think she's got a last name like Leone, which is a little bit of it's an Italian last. I was like, okay, well, there may be a family name that's come down, but her mom might be West Bengal all the way, because it was clear from her face. She's a beautiful little kid. And I'm like, she looks like she could easily play Pavarti Patil, who was, a British Indian character from the book. And I mean, so it was like, but people were like researching. I even found myself Googling. I'm like, I'm about to Google some 11-year-old kid to find out who her parents are, because everybody's losing their minds on this. And I'm sitting there going, y'all chill out. This is too much. I was like, she's fine.
I know that.
Yeah, Snape, I'm kind of on the casting. That's we can complain all day about the Snape casting, because that is stupid.
Yeah,
but
I mean, my feeling is, I don't care, but he better be better than Alan Rickman if they're going through to these lengths.
That's not going to happen.
Well, I know. Look, he might be. I don't know anything about the guy. I've never seen him in anything. Who knows? Maybe he is the second coming of Alan Rickman. For all we know.
Oh, was Nico Parker in Dumbo as well? Oh God, that's why nobody saw her in that one.
I know, yeah.
Nobody
one
saw
knows.
that movie. Yeah. I didn't know. Like I said, her mom's a great actress. I mean, fabulous. I love her mom's stuff. Like I said, I especially loved her in Chronicles of Riddick because I think it was the first time I ever watched her in something. But look, it is what it is.
Well,
So, it didn't take away from my enjoyment of the movie at all. At all.
The April Fools from last year, I put out an article saying that they had cast the live action Princess and the Frog and it with Jenna Ortega and Simu Liu. Because why not?
Because why not? Well, I think I made a joke years ago when Disney started all this with the race swapping and like when they announced Little Mermaid and then they announced Snow White and all this. I said, well, next up, it's going to be Karen Gillan as Princess Tiana. You know, the white redheaded Irish girl. You know, the one that plays, for those of you who don't know, Karen Gillan. Well, she was Nebula in the MCU Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
She was blue in that one.
Yeah, she was very blue in that one. But if you don't know what she looks like in real life, just look up Karen Gillan, and you're welcome.
Yeah,
it's one of the most beautiful women in the world.
Yeah,
it's my opinion.
And the definition of white.
Yes, very, very red-haired Irish white and gorgeous.
Yeah, can't go out in the sun
no,
without getting skin cancer.
No. Libra All Woman for 5. The original How to Train Your Dragon movies are superb. Therefore, why not re-release them instead of making a live-action version?
I mean, it's going to make more money than the originals.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's a gamble and it's working.
It's working exactly.
Lilo and Stitch is the same thing. It's going to make more than the original.
Exactly. That's just it. It's a dollars and cents thing, and if you do it correctly. Right. And this is my thing. When you do these kind of movies, I always talk about from the commercial and the business side, you had better deliver the audience what they're expecting. Don't insult them. Don't radically alter something. Snow White, Little Mermaid, all that kind of stuff where you radically alter the characters, alter the stories, put a black actress as Ariel. I'm sorry. You know, it's like it doesn't visually, it doesn't work. Again, it's one of those things to where these are really simple mistakes that have nothing to do with racism or anything else. It's just, this is what the audience knows. And if you're going to, you know, if you're going to remake a movie like that, then you should have an easy sell because you're not experimenting. You already have a built-in audience that wants to see this. Feed them. Don't feed them something that they all of a sudden don't recognize and decide, I'll wait for streaming. Because it's very easy today to say, I'll wait for streaming.
Yeah. But I think it's more so that it's not that people wanted something else. It felt like that they were lecturing us that we should like this.
Right.
Because you're racist, because you like the original. And you're inflexible enough. You're not inflexible enough to want to see something different, and so therefore you're racist, and so shame on you. Now come pay me money to see my movie.
Give me more money. I know you've been streaming for a while. We got a few other stories to get to, so I don't want to keep you if you need to go, but I wanted to ask you any good high hopes and expectations for Ironheart? Are you looking forward to this?
I'm gonna watch some of it tonight.
I was about to ask you. I was about to ask you if you had the key card for it already. Yeah.
I mean, based on the trailer. Yeah. Are we gonna get the hero's journey? She gonna have something that she has to is there gonna be a weakness in her life that she needs to overcome? And the only way she thinks she can solve it is by putting on an iron suit. Only to realize that's there's more to life. Based on the
trailers and everything that has been said about this movie, apparently the thing she has to overcome is white people. I swear to God, that's what it looks like. Tell me I'm wrong tomorrow if I am. But it looks. She's going to go out. They're going to steal from the rich and give it back to the poor and all this. I'm like, wait, is
she going to do that?
That's what people are talking about out there. There's some vibe to that. And because people were making comments about who was it, Director X that did Robin Hood. Remember the Canadian TV?
Well, I remember the stories. I haven't seen it.
Oh God! Oh, Disparu watched all those things, and we almost had to commit him to a funny farm after that one, I think. But
so, are you saying IronHeart's going to break into a CVS just to give medicine to poor people?
Maybe.
Okay. She could just blow through those walls. She doesn't have to walk through the door. That's the
look. This is another one of those things. Remember, this was supposed to come out like almost 2 years ago now. They shot this. They shot a lot of this concurrently with Black Panther 2.
I believe
that's how long this thing has been in the can. And I mean, they've gone back. My understanding is that it's been reworked. And it's from somebody you and I both know, but this movie has been, this individual heard from a reliable source that it's been reworked 12 ways to Sunday.
Yeah. I think this person also said that this makes Echo look like the Godfather.
I have heard that. I have heard that. And look, people, and this is one of these things that I think I'm trying to find something right now. I was going to show you this. I had this thing up earlier. It was regarding IronHeart. That's definitely not it. I don't know where this. It might have been from Marvel Studios. I'm trying to think. Somebody had, but they've been putting out bits and clips. Let me see. I'm not going to pull up the audio here, but the squad. I think, is that Eric Andre that's in this? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Eric Andre. It's so weird. Yes. We have the Pride Month trans individual that is.
What is that? What was that? She had the eye roll kind of thing going, and
I don't even know where to go with this. We got that thing, which is that thing. And I'm gonna back it up.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah, Eric Andre. Ladies and gentlemen, this is America.
Yes, this is it. Our hacker extraordinaire. Apparently, he hacked off his own penis.
Yeah, there it is. What is that? What is she doing?
Hi, my name is John. I love you. My parents let me play with knives. That's the audio I have in my ear.
Oh, is it okay?
Yeah, I'm a little cautious about using the audio because it's got a lot of music going in the background.
I mean, we talked about this on our live stream, but who's the audience for the show? What is the audience for the show?
Who was the audience for Director X's Robin Hood?
I know,
or Robin of the Hood, or whatever it was. I mean the audience was nobody.
I mean, we've talked ad nauseum about this, but
the audience is YouTubers who are going to make fun of this and make a lot of money.
Right, but if you want to make money, you appeal to your audience, and part of that is knowing who your audience is.
Yeah,
and it just doesn't appear like they know who the audience is, and if they knew who the audience was, are there enough of them who are going to subscribe to Disney Plus to make this a profitable show?
No. This is not going to get. I'd venture to say this is not going to get a single new sign up to Disney Plus that's going to come in and say, I'm signing up to watch IronHeart.
Right.
I think, and because here's the thing, they don't have people signing up for their headline shows. Remember, I remember, what was it, when did Mando season 3 come out? 2 years ago now?
Something like that, yeah.
The quarter that Mando season 3 released after the temerity of what they did to the Book of Boba Fett, the quarter that Mando season 3 released, Disney Plus in North America lost subs. That's what I remember. I got to go back and look to double check, but because I remember talking about that in a video and live stream. I was like, holy crap. They came out with the earnings call. I'm like, well, they lost a couple 100,000 subs, and that was the quarter that Mando season 3 debuted. So it's not helping.
Yeah, I swear that I think they're under the impression that the audience is an unnecessary evil. That if they could just make stuff without needing an audience, they totally would.
They have been. They've been getting Robert Downey Jr. like this. He's done 2 or 3 or 4 things, like on Good Morning America, ABC. He's doing little videos, doing the IronHeart thing. Like, how much extra are they giving him to do all this press tour for?
I think what it was when he was signing his Dr. Doom contract. It was, we'll throw in an extra $5 million.
Yeah,
if you help us promote IronHeart.
That's
that way they could put it on. They could put it on the Doomsday budget instead of the IronHeart budget.
This is what I was looking for. First look at Drag Race, as in RuPaul's Drag Race star Shea Coulee in IronHeart.
Progressive. How forward thinking.
So progressive. Every heist needs a crew. So I mean, they're a bunch of thieves. They're just the squad. And look, even the Hood. This was the part. They're dressed up like the Director X Robin of the Hood. It's like they took a page out of that show, and they made their own CW show. For we don't know how much this one is, but it's with all the reworks on it. And not to mention the CGI, the suit and everything that they have, all the battle sequences. This has got to be a $200+ million show. There's no way it's not. Not with, they're going to say, well, the budget was only $100 million. I want to hear about budget. Tell me how much they spent, because they did not stick to the greenlit budget on this. I promise you. There's no way that you delay a show's release for nearly 2 years and rework it, re-edit it, all mess it around 12 times, and tell me that you came in on budget. But yeah,
I'll tell you how the series ends. I believe Mephisto shows up, snaps his finger, and removes Ironheart from the MCU from all memory.
Yes, that would be great. I love this. Is just
there's precedent.
We're not going to let the pathetic incel losers take away our joy for Ironheart. Okay. we don't care. we really don't care. But I'm just scrolling through. I was trying to find, there was a post that kind of had, here we go. Yeah, can't wait. Can't wait. It just,
I think it'll inspire all inner city kids that they too can make an Iron Man suit from junk laying around the street
that they stole.
Yeah.
That they stole. That's the worst part of this show, is that Disney has made a black female superhero character that steals the tech from a dead white guy and then goes on a theft rampage in the show, apparently.
Yeah.
So
I am trying to figure out where at home. I'm trying to figure out where at Home Depot can I find the metal to make my suit.
I don't know. Oh, by the way, apparently she's pulling in Doctor Strange stuff, in case you can't see that one.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So yeah, she's going to be the everything, right? So we'll see. Can't wait. That show. And here's the thing, Alan, they have, in case you didn't realize, and because do you have all 6 episodes?
Yes, I'll be able to see the whole thing.
God, I'm sorry. Let me. You know what?
Lucky.
I know you.
It gets the views. Let's put it that way.
Okay, can you do me a big favor? I know you can't talk to me about it before it comes out, but as long as it doesn't violate your contract, would you be able to? Because I don't think they've posted it yet. Because I kind of want to know what run times we're looking at. Would you be able to tell me at least what the run times of each episode is?
Yeah, I don't think that's a.
I wouldn't say. I was like, I can't imagine that's part of the NDA.
I mean, it's not on IMDb.
No, they don't. They never get the run times on IMDb until they drop.
Yeah.
So like here's my thing. This is why I'm saying this. So when this comes out, okay, what Disney is doing is on June 24th or whatever it is, they're releasing 3 episodes, the first 3 in one plop. They are then going to release the second 3 episodes 1 week later, which is going to be July 1st or 2nd. So what Disney has done, Alan, I don't know if you knew this, but they have straddled the fiscal quarters. It tells me this show cost a fortune. So by releasing 3 episodes right at the end of fiscal quarter 3, and the next 3 episodes 2 days into fiscal quarter 4, when they go to do their earnings report in August for the quarter that ends on June 30th, they've split up probably what's an enormous cost of this ridiculous show into 2 fiscal quarters. So they don't have to eat it all at one time, because the streaming service, Disney Plus, has been teetering on the edge. I mean, they're trying to find ways, in case you haven't noticed, it's like the reason that Disney is cutting all these Marvel shows, all the Star Wars shows, there's no, we're not going to have 5 Marvel shows a year and all this stuff anymore, is because that's what's killing profitability for streaming. And nobody's really watching these things. That's been the problem. So they really had to get this turd out. This is the Wednesday morning turd after Taco Tuesday. The crap has got to come out, but they've straddled it over 2 fiscal quarters to mitigate the financial damage. So, but I don't know if they're half-hour episodes, Alan, or if they're, what are they?
I can tell you in just a moment here. I gotta sign a contract.
I appreciate you doing this. Yeah. I didn't mean to make you go through all that on air.
Oh no, I have to do it anyway.
Text me later. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I can tell you right now. It's popping up here. Okay, so let's see. Okay, here we go. Episode 1, 41 minutes. Episode 2, 48 minutes. Episode 3, 53 minutes.
Wow.
4 is 50. 5 is 57, and 6 is 40 minutes.
They're Andoring it, Alan. They're Andoring it. That's it. That's the story. They're doing the 3-episode drops because I was thinking they're going to be 20, 30-minute episodes a piece, like Book of Boba Fett and some of that crap. So these are average of 45-minute to 50-minute episodes.
Yeah, one is almost an hour long.
So that's 2.5 hours a week. They're trying to Andor this thing to get it up the Nielsen charts, to get it up the Luminate charts, to make the show look like it's way more successful than it is, because the same weeks that Andor was coming out with 2.5+ hours a week, and they were like number 4 on the Luminate chart, you had Mobland that was either right above it or right below it, but Mobland was releasing 1 40-minute episode a week. Mobland had like 3 times the audience of Andor, but to the people that don't understand how to read the charts, that was kind of the trick. Oh, Andor's doing better? What are you talking about? Well, wait a minute. Consider that each episodic drop is 2.5 hours each week versus 30 minutes or 45 minutes for every other show on that list that isn't a binge model. So
they're doing 2 episodes at a time, or are they doing 3?
3.
Okay.
They're so episodes 1, 2, 3 come out June 24th. And then episodes 4, 5, 6 come out July 1st or 2nd. That's what I'm saying. They straddled half of the show is in the 3rd fiscal quarter for Disney, and the other half of the show is in the 4th fiscal quarter for Disney, because the 4th fiscal quarter starts July 1st. So they broke the show up. They released it deliberately so they could mitigate how much of what I'm betting is like a $200 million disaster here, if not more. So they'd only have to report maybe $100 million of expenses per quarter. They could, instead of taking the whole $200 million at once, because Disney Plus is on a razor's edge. $100 million to $200 million is the difference between showing a profit next quarter between Disney Plus and Hulu combined and showing a loss. The last thing Bob Iger needs right now is to start rolling backwards and show a loss again. So I'm telling you, this is why this show was broken up like this. And because they've already got in this fiscal quarter from April 1st, I don't remember, when did Andor come out? Came out in April, right?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
So they already have this massive $400 million dangling turd for Andor that they're going to have to eat the bulk of this quarter. And that was like, there's no way. It's like, we need to get IronHeart out, but we need to split it up. I'm telling you, this is what they did. So that's 2.5. So they want to be able to show when that Luminate chart comes out, and probably not in the first week, but in the second week for sure. And all 6 episodes have dropped, and they're going to show that IronHeart is up there in the top 10 on Luminate. But then when you actually run the math and realize that you have 5 hours there, Andor Season 2's average audience over the course of the season was about 5 million viewers, 5 million views when you accounted for the runtime.
Yeah.
Mobland on Paramount. I don't know if you watched Mobland, but oh my God, you need to watch it. So good. I know you got so much to watch, but you got to watch it when you can. It's so good. That averaged 15+ million a week after it got going. So it was like, and that show, I heard that show that cost between 50 and 100 million to make.
Yeah.
It was like nothing. And the cast in that show is incredible.
Yeah.
So
well, also Trump likes the new CEO, so that might move things along quicker.
Of
Paramount. Paramount, yeah.
You talking about with Ellison coming in?
Yeah, he Trump, quote unquote, he's a great guy. And
look, I'm sure. Look, the guys at Oracle, I'm sure
we're friends.
They've run. They're both billionaires, man. They've run around in the same circles forever. I'm sure.
Yeah, he's friends just like he is with President Xi, and
yeah, we're all friends. We're all good friends. Yeah,
yeah. So I mean, it looks like Disney. So Disney Plus has the Frozen Broadway musical coming out. That might move
really
a little bit. Yeah.
When is that dropping?
I'm not sure, but my screener ends tomorrow, so I got to watch it tonight.
Oh shoot! Okay.
And then, then Fantastic Four is. I'm thinking it's gonna be 600 global, if that.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you there.
I think the only movie that has a shot to hit the billion is possibly Lilo and Stitch, and it'll probably be Avatar.
Avatar will. I mean, clearly, globally.
Yeah. But how much does Disney take, and how much does Cameron take?
Cameron takes the bulk. So my understanding is that. So you take from a pure distribution standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Disney's responsible for the marketing because they have the distribution contract. I don't know about how much internationally they have, but all of that was acquired from Fox. So assume for a minute that Disney takes a 30% takedown from box office. So the last movie did $2.5 billion, whatever it was. Assume for a second about 1.2 billion of that came back. Disney might have walked off with, 300-400 million. Cameron got the rest of it. About 700-800 million. The thing is, though, Disney would have borne a lot of the cost to market it, number one. Number two, and here's the other thing, and I have to assume this was for all the Avatar movies that Cameron already had in planning. Before Disney acquired all the theatrical distribution from Fox, remember, Fox, they didn't have a proprietary streaming service.
Right.
It was Warner Brothers and HBO Max and HBO that had the distribution contract for streaming.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason it's on Disney Plus is because Disney had to buy something off of.
Right.
They had to pay to get that back. So the last Avatar movie, I'm not even sure how much money Disney actually really made at the end of it, because between Cameron taking the bulk of it, now Disney may have helped finance some of it and had a 10%, 20% equity portion. That's possible. But Disney, whatever they spent to market the film into theaters, number one, and then whatever they spent to pay to get some of those licensing rights back from Warner Brothers, so they could, because remember, it was on HBO Max and Disney Plus. It dropped concurrently on both streaming services for the second Avatar movie when it hit streaming.
Mm-hmm.
So that did not come free so I think whatever money they made from it, they turned around and paid it right out to get it on streaming. So I don't know if they're doing
the idea that Avatar is going to get new subscribers. I mean, ultimately, that's what it all becomes: is how many new subscribers are you going to get from it?
Look, this is the thing we've talked about, and I've made this statement a number of times, and I know you got to get going, but Disney's best course of action. It's not like Disney is going to lose much, if maybe any, subscribers of any material amount if they dropped and stopped making every Star Wars show and Marvel show, right? Because most of the audience there, we can see it. The audience is there to watch Bluey and Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and everything else.
And the archives,
audience,
yes.
Yeah, the archives, the catalog, the library, right? If Disney simply started licensing their content back out to Netflix and Amazon Prime and Apple TV, hey, it leaves the theaters. We can put it on Disney Plus in the Pay 2 window, but in the Pay 1 window, we need to be collecting billion-dollar checks like Sony and Universal and a lot of other guys do, because we can lease it out for 9 or 10 months or the full 18 months of the Pay 1 window. I mean, it's worked great for Comcast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're making a fortune over it. It was so good that Netflix, just a couple of months ago, decided they were going to stroke an even bigger check to Universal because they wanted everything. They didn't want Amazon Prime getting the live action stuff anymore. Netflix was just getting the animated. The live action stuff like Jurassic World was going over to Amazon. Netflix said, we want all of it.
Yeah.
And they went in and they upped the contract and they extended it out. And look, they don't even get it right away. The movies from Universal and Comcast, they still go to Peacock for the first 4 months after it leaves theaters.
Yeah.
And then they go over to Netflix. And they're still collecting billion-dollar checks for these. Disney doesn't want to do any of that. And all their own stuff is dying on Disney Plus because nobody shops Disney Plus. People go to Netflix to see what's on. They go to Amazon Prime to see what's on. To a lesser degree, mostly Netflix they do. But nobody goes, hey, you know what? Let's see what's on Disney Plus right now. Nobody says that. The only people that sit there in front of Disney Plus are 5-year-olds watching Bluey reruns, and Disney is probably paying. They got to be paying $1 billion to get those distribution rights.
I mean, quite frankly, we use Disney Plus just for the old stuff, the classic movies. No, other than my job, I don't ever go back to that stuff.
Yep.
Peacock, they're lucky because they have wrestling, and that's the only reason I have Peacock.
I've hung on to Peacock. It's probably the one that I watch the least. I've found myself watching a lot, like for regular TV, for new shows. Paramount just keeps making, just solid gold bar after gold bar after gold bar.
Yeah, I know. I was able to watch the Tonys on Paramount Plus.
Oh, was it? I didn't even know that was there.
Tony, it was amazing.
No, but like between all the Taylor Sheridan stuff, Landman, and then you've got Guy Ritchie that did Mobland, and then you've got I think they have a new season of Mayor of Kingstown. Tulsa King was a lot of fun with Sly Stallone in there.
It's funny because it's Star Trek that's dragging them down.
It is. It will start like they don't even need Star Trek right now. They could stop doing that and just
they should stop doing it.
You know, if they want to do it like, hey Taylor, would you want to make a Star Trek show too? Let Taylor Sheridan do a Star Trek show at this point. I mean, why not?
Yeah, someone said like they offered Terry Matalas to continue the Picard after season 3 and he offered to do more episodes for less money, but they wouldn't take him up on it, and so he didn't. He went to Marvel instead to do the Vision.
I was going to say,
series.
Didn't Terry Matalas just sign up for something at Disney? Okay,
he's doing the Vision series, and he's doing Enemy Mine for Fox.
I don't know Enemy Mine, but look, I'd be interested to see how well the audience react. I mean, to me, if Terry Matalas is doing this Vision show, I think I know what's going to happen. It's going to be kind of like Andor. It's not going to have that big an audience. It's going to be way overpriced for the audience that they do get. But the audience that watches it is going to swear by it. But it's not going to matter because nobody else cares about Marvel anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that Vision has going for it is Terry Matalas.
That's it. Yeah.
I mean, look, there's a new Pedro Pascal movie called The Materialist. The only reason why I would even consider watching that movie is because of the writer-director Celine Song, who did Past Lives. And so endured a bit of Pedro to get to the good stuff.
we covered, or we broke apart the 10-minute little video thing that he and Dakota Johnson did. I don't know if it was Vogue magazine or so. I don't know if you saw that. They're reading the cards and going back and forth with one another. We played that. The audience got mad at me and they were sending me money to stop the video. They couldn't take Pedro anymore. But
he's just slightly overexposed. That's all.
Indeed.
I mean, look, he can't be in everything. I mean, he's trying. And he's getting pretty damn close.
I was about to say, he's trying really, really hard.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up in Superman. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, please don't even. Oh, my Lord.
I mean, he did such a great job with Wonder Woman 1984.
Man, oh, man. Let me grab some of these super chats here real quick.
Okay, I do have to go, though.
Alan, thank you for being here. I appreciate you, dude. Stop by anytime. Everybody, check out Film Threat. Everybody say thank you to Alan Ng out there, and I will be anxiously awaiting.
Yeah, by the way, on Tuesday we are doing the IronHeart, our IronHeart episode.
That's exactly what I was about to ask you. So Tuesday next week?
Yes, Tuesday.
Because that's the day the show drops, right?
Yes, so we'll
Okay.
probably do it before it drops, and we'll
Okay.
talk about it.
So Tuesday, are y'all going to do a Film Threat live, or what are y'all doing?
Yeah, we're doing it live. Chris
Okay.
is in the apparently Chris is in the audience.
Hey, what's up, Chris?
This will be.
I
it'll be me,
I
Chris.
cannot wait to get y'all's reaction to this because again, I see what Disney is doing with this. They're trying to Andor this thing 2.5 hours per week for 2 weeks instead of 4 weeks because they didn't have the. I mean, they had 12 episodes of Andor, 6 of Ironheart. They're really going to try to drill this. This is Disney's new model now. And we've watched them over the years. More and more episodes every week just to make it show up on a chart. And they're getting murdered by a single 40-minute episode of a Paramount Plus TV show that cost $50 million. Mobland. Go watch it.
Well, once Fantastic Four comes out, they can coast through the rest of the year. So
yes, that must be it. So thank you, Alan. Appreciate you.
Right. Thanks a lot.
All right. Take care. And let's see, Chris. Oh, I do see Chris out there. Chris is in the chat. Alan is still on. He's gone now. He hung out a little bit longer than I expected him to, which I'm very grateful for. Thank you for letting us borrow him, Chris. Go have fun watching Ironheart tonight, dude. We'll get caught up soon. All right. I wanted to get to one other story here. Let me grab some, because we love when we get the opportunities to talk about The View. And there was a couple of stories. I didn't know if I'd have a chance to do all of it on Renegade Nation tonight, which will be coming up after this show in about 20 minutes. So I want to kind of wind this down. But I do want to get to Arnold Schwarzenegger today. Was just brilliant on The View. And Sunny Hostin, wait till you see her hand in the frame. She's about to explode because Arnold Schwarzenegger said some things that clearly the girls on The View were not expecting. Libra, All Woman for $5. The original How to Train Your Dragon movies are superb. Oh, wait, we got that one earlier. Thank you, though, Libra. William Thompson says the sad thing is because of how woke Hollywood has become, it has actually just forced fans, or many fans, to become toxic, and it's unfortunate but true. And why am I not on the panel, sir? Just kidding. Thank you, William Thompson. He also sent in $50 with 10. Count them, 10 gifted Valiant Renegade channel memberships. If you have gotten one of these gifted memberships tonight, please thank the folks out there for doing it. Thank you, William Thompson. Jeremiah Hembry for 28 months says, please talk about the James Gunn article and how he goes after Disney in the way they produce their films. I did see something about this, Jeremiah. I did not get a chance to read it today at the office. I had a lot of other work going on. That's probably not a bad thing to discuss Sunday on that show. I think we'll have time to get to that. And we have a lot of these Fantastic Four stories coming out. I've been a little leery about getting into them too early because, honestly, there is no interest in this movie. And I feel like I'm spinning my wheels on some of these stories because the audience is just kind of doesn't care. And I'm not terribly interested in it. But I think we'll maybe take that one up this Sunday. I will go look up that story. I think I do have it saved in an archive, one of my web browsers somewhere. Packing Protons became a YouTube channel member. He already was, but I guess he renewed. Thank you, Packing Protons. We appreciate you. Nikki D says, for $10, Warner Brothers felt confident to lift the review embargo for F1 more than a week before its release. I bought my F1 IMAX ticket like 3 weeks ago. I'm so ready for that. I'm going to see it. I think it's next week, right? Is it next week? I think it's next week. The reviews have been great. Looking forward to watching this film next week. There you go. It is next week. That's what I thought. Packing Protons for $5. Of course, it had to renew a day before billing. I hope I didn't lose my 2-year membership count. Oh, I don't think so. I don't think it's that sensitive. Okay. Well, thank you, though, Packing Protons. And James All Day for 2. David Ellison would be a great CEO for Disney. Oh, God, the people at Disney wouldn't think so. Good Lord. I think they would lose their shit. He would actually be interested in making a profit, which means having to make good quality products and not listening to the people that have a tendency to make bad quality products. All right, let me... Uh-oh, not that one. Where is... Trying to get to it. There we go. There's my Arnold Schwarzenegger thing. All right, let me get this in position. We just get a... Did Grits just send something? Grits just sent something. Kiss my grits for $20. What's up, my man? Hey, VR. Netflix just launched a Netflix sports brand across social So look for them to acquire more league rights in the Netflix house. Immersive experience is opening in Dallas and Philly this fall, with Vegas planned for 27. Yeah, let me tell you what, Grits and I have been talking about this. He is a fountain of information on this stuff because of his knowledge of the industry from being a veteran of it for so many years. Disney is doing some weird stuff, man. They've dug themselves in a hole with this new NBA contract. It's a total mess. They are now selling off half of the college football playoffs to Warner Brothers and others, some of their most absolutely lucrative, most money-making properties that they own. They're selling off other bits and pieces of other sports they have. And I think Grits even said they still only have, or this was Clay Travis earlier too. Clay's been all over this. We might talk about this Sunday because I don't have time tonight because I need to get this wrapped up, get over to Renegade Nation for an hour to get with Mark Mitchell, and then we're going to swing over to Mark Mitchell's show. Yeah, Disney bit off more than they can chew. This new NBA contract they signed up for, they're getting the lowest ratings of an NBA playoff in, I don't know, a decade or two or several. It's terrible. It's falling apart. And they're now going to be paying 3 times more than they were before for a dying asset with fewer games in the package. And now they're having to sell off very valuable college football playoff games to other carriers like David Zaslav and Warner Brothers to basically make up the difference. I told y'all months ago when this NBA deal went down, that we were going to get to a point in the not too distant future where Warner Brothers and David Zaslav not getting the renewal of the NBA contract is going to go down as being one of the most incredibly brilliant moves, whether intentional or not, that Zaslav ever got. Because I'm telling you, it's going to turn out to be one of the worst deals ever. The only one who can really stomach the losses on that is Amazon. That's it. Amazon, they might lose $500 million or something like that, or maybe they can't sell it enough. The ratings are going down, but Amazon can survive it. Disney and these other guys can't. All right, let me. Thank you very much, KMG. Appreciate you. Let me get this pulled up. I want to run through this real quick. This is an amazing segment. So here it is. Let me get this kicked off. Of course, you can see here we have Joyless Behar here talking with Arnold. Okay, and they are asking him questions about what's going on in California, and they're asking him about immigration.
Yeah. But you were governor already.
I was.
Yes, you can't do it again.
I was. I'm not governor anymore.
But you are. But you know, as an immigrant yourself, you are an immigrant. You're an immigrant in this country. Yeah. Did you have a visceral reaction to what they're doing, what ICE is doing, when you see the videos of it?
They're trying to put Arnold in a corner and ask him questions about his reaction to Donald Trump and Tom Homan and ICE and what's going on, especially right now with all the California protests, right? Wait till you see this answer that Arnold gives them. They don't know what to do.
Well, I tell you, you said that the immigrant, I'm so proud and happy that I was embraced by the American people like that. I mean, imagine I came over here with the age of...
You could already see Joy Behar's face. She's kind of,
21. With absolutely
what do you mean you're proud of America?
nothing. And then to create a career like that. I mean, in no other country in the world could you do that. Every single thing, if it's my bodybuilding career, if it's my acting career, becoming governor, the beautiful family that I've created,
That's right,
all
KB.
of this is because of America.
That's true.
And so this is why I'm so happy to see firsthand that this is the greatest country in the world, and this is the land of opportunity.
Can you make him stop talking? Whoopi looks so happy right now. Good Lord. I swear to God, Whoopi Goldberg is giving Maxine Waters a run for her money when it comes to who can look like the biggest used prune.
And I think because I'm such a proud American and a proud immigrant that came to America, I was asked to do, on July 4th, a big speech, the keynote speech at Mount Vernon, where George Washington was laid to rest, and where he lived and all that, to celebrate the 250th anniversary of America, the existence of America. And I will be doing the speech there. They asked me because I'm an immigrant, and there will be 7,000 some people there, and there will be people that will be sworn in and will become citizens that day.
That's great.
So it's really a great, great celebration. And this is what this is all about, is to celebrate people becoming Americans and coming to America and all that. And so I just think the world of the great kind of a history that we have with immigrants.
You know, people doing it legally
In America. But the key thing also is at the same time that we got to do things legal. That is the important thing, you know. So you got to do things legal, and those people that
They're all
are doing
squirming.
illegal things in America and that are foreigners, they are not smart. Because when you come to America, you're a guest, and you have to behave like a guest.
Oh, he did not
But when
say
I go
that.
to someone's house and I'm a guest, then I will do everything I can to keep things clean and to make my bed.
Look,
and to do
look at the hand. Look at the hand coming in on Arnold's left arm. Look at the hand. Watch this. That's Sunny Hostin. She is about to come out of her chair. She's about to lose her shit. Watch Sunny Hostin. She's listening to Arnold talk about how immigrants have to come in legally and that they're guests in the country and that they should be respectful, like a guest should be in a host's home. Watch Sunny lose it with her hand. She doesn't like go verbally ballistic, but you can.
Then I will do
Watch.
everything I can
Watch.
to keep things clean and to make my bed and
Arnold,
to do everything
Arnold,
that is
honey,
the right
stop,
thing to do
stop. Can
rather
you-
than committing a crime or being abusive or something like that. So that doesn't really work in this country. So I think the important thing.
Look at her. She wants to interrupt him so bad right now. She is about to die inside.
Is when you become an immigrant to think about, okay, I go to America because I want to use America for the great opportunities that America has in education, in jobs, creating a family, all of those kind of things. Then you have to think about, okay, if I get all of those things from America, then I have to give something back. You have a responsibility as an immigrant to give back to America,
Oh, no,
and
he
to pay
didn't.
back to America, and to go and do something for your community for no money whatsoever. Give something back to after-school programs, Special Olympics, or whatever it is.
The audience
Make
is
this country a
clapping.
better
Right,
place.
but Arnold, don't forget there's
Sonny doesn't know what to do.
90% of the people who come here are trying to do the right thing.
They're less likely to
and
commit
the-
crimes.
and it's the
immigrants.
and a lot of
That's
what's
what's-
happening right now is people are getting snatched who shouldn't be snatched out of the
Look, they're going through all this. You heard Sonny. This is what Sonny was waiting to get out. But white people. I don't know if you caught it when she goes into but white people still commit more crimes. She
country, people who have visas, people who have all those things. So we want all the right people. We don't want people who are doing bad stuff.
But they
here.
are less likely, immigrants are much less likely to commit crimes in this country than
Right.
actually American-born citizens. And
one is too many. We don't need to import any criminals. And again, this is the defense for it because this is what her busted up little left-wing brain says to say. Sonny Hostin, the whole time that Arnold was saying that, was convulsing, waiting to get out, but white people.
the other thing I just wanted to
Gotta do
say
it
is
fast.
that Governor Newsom did not ask for the National Guard to come to, the federal government to come to
Yeah.
California. There are 9,000 local law enforcement officers in California. Did he really
Everybody has to follow the law.
I mean, you know, look,
He's about to give another answer that they don't like.
this is a whole other issue because remember, the National Guard is under the governor's supervision.
That's right.
Yeah.
But, like for instance,
But what do you mean? But Arnold?
when the National Guard was sent to Iraq during the Iraqi war, I was not the one that said, "Oh yeah, go to Iraq." The Bush administration came and said, "We need those people."
Confirming that the president has the authority to do such a thing. They didn't know where to go with this one. We'll probably talk more about this over on Renegade Nation, but I have to wind this down. I appreciate everybody being here. But thank you very much. We are going to automatically send you over to the lobby for Renegade Nation. I have to get this. In fact, oh wait, did I send him the wrong link? I hope I didn't. No, I think I sent him. I gotta send Mark the link for the other lobby. I almost sent him the link to this lobby, which would have been a mess. Thank you all so very much. We will see you over on Renegade Nation, the new channel. Yes, the link is out there. Boop. There we go. Renegade Nation News. You can see it right out there. And am I going to watch the Kids' Choice Awards? No, I don't know. I have no idea what that is, or I have no idea what it is. I've heard, is that the same thing like Nickelodeon did years ago or something like that? I don't remember. All right, guys, we got to get on out of here. We're going to send you over to Renegade Nation right now. Pick up the conversation. Mark Mitchell on this topic, segueing into it. We are going to talk about, what is going on right now, because there's a lot of crazy going on in social media right now. People freaking the frick out over stuff that Donald Trump has not said, done anything yet. And there's this term going around that I like. I started hearing this the last couple of days called the panicans. I think it's perfect. There's a lot of panicans out there. So we're going to try to put some hard numbers to it and talk sensibly about this and go through it over there. Mark Mitchell from Rasmussen should be joining me with some polling data that maybe should suggest that everybody just kind of chill back a little bit. Let the man cook. Let Trump cook, as Jeremy Prime says over on CobraCast. All right, guys, thank you all for being here. We are getting on out. See ya.